There's a room in San Francisco where the richest men in tech sat down to listen to a sermon. No cameras allowed, no recordings, no reporters. They even kicked out all the pastors, people of faith. The men at the front built a machine that helps the government watch you. And he stood up there and preached about the Antichrist. And then he pointed at the people who want to put safety rules on artificial intelligence, and he called them soldiers of the devil. That happened. That's not a movie. That's a Tuesday. Welcome to WTF In AI. I'm going to tell you what happened this week in a part that not very many people are saying out loud. I come from a long LAPD background and I really have nothing to lose at this point, so I think, but we're going to try this anyway. And I'm going to give you what this might actually mean to you and your family. So buckle up and let me have a seat at the table. So this man's name is Peter Thiel, Thiel. And if you don't know him, here's the short version. He helped start PayPal. He was the first big money into Facebook. He built a company called Palantir, Palantir. Palantir is the part you should remember. Palantir builds the software that governments and police and intelligence agencies use to watch people, to track them, to pull every piece of data about a person into one screen. That's his business, watching, tracking, knowing where you are and what you're doing. He's worth more than $20 billion. He bankrolls politicians. He's not the guy on the sidelines. He's one of the most powerful people alive who you never voted for and never will. Now hold that picture just for a second. The surveillance guy, the watch everybody guy. And because this last fall, that guy rented a hall in San Francisco and gave 4 lectures. The topic was the Antichrist. It wasn't a business talk or a tech talk or a sermon. It was actually about the end of the world. And here's the first thing that should make the hair on your neck actually stand up. It was off the record on purpose. The invite told everybody no recordings. This never leaves this room. The seats were full of tech money and surveillance money. And when one guy in the audience wrote up his notes and posted them, they banned him from the rest of the talks and kept his money. Now think about that for a second. You're preaching about God, good and evil, and why do you lock the doors? Why do you ban the cameras? Why do you throw out the clergy? You don't hide a sermon meant to save people. You hide a sermon meant for a very specific group of people, and not for you. The only reason any of us know a word of what he said in the recordings because it was leaked to the Washington Post. And there you have that. So let's talk about what he actually said, because this is where it goes from strange to something you need to understand. Here's the big idea, and in plain English. Thiel says the real danger to the world is a coming, and I quote, one world state, a single government that controls everything. He says it'll show up wearing a friendly face. It'll promise you peace, and I'll promise you safety, and I'll promise to protect you from this scary new technology. Then he says that the friendly face, the one promising to keep you safe, well, that's actually the Antichrist. Now stay with me, because here's the move, and this is the whole thing. If the villain is the one promising safety, then who are the villain's helpers? In Thiel's telling, it's the people asking for rules. He literally has a name for them. He calls them Legionaries of the Antichrist. A legionnaire is a soldier. I had to look it up. I was confused about what it meant. So he's saying these people are foot soldiers for the devil. And who did he name? Who are these soldiers? He named Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, a man named Yudkowsky, I've seen him, who spends his whole life warning that AI could get dangerous if nobody puts the brakes on it. People who say slow down. People who say put up the guardrails. People who say maybe a handful of billionaires shouldn't control the most powerful technology in human history and nobody checking them. Well, Peter Thiel, those people aren't just wrong. They're working for the Antichrist. So let me explain what actually is, because it's old and it's clever, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Picture a kid building the biggest tower of blocks you've ever seen, higher and higher. He never wants to stop. Then some other kids walk up and say, hey, that thing's getting kind of wobbly. Somebody might get hurt. Let's put a few rules on this. Now the kid with the tower has a couple choices. He can either listen, or he can make those other kids look bad, so bad that nobody listens to them ever again. Well, Thiel picked option 2. But he just didn't say the other kids were wrong. He said the other kids are evil, demonic, enemies of the one true and living God. Here's the part that matters. He's not really saying the tower is holy. He's saying anybody who tries to make him stop, well, they're the bad guy. And that's the trick. You don't have to prove you're good. You just have to convince everybody that the other side is evil. And then you get to keep building as high as you want and as fast as you want. And anyone who objects is on the side of the devil. Well, that's not faith. That's a permission slip. It's a permission slip dressed up in church clothes so that don't put limits on me sounding like I'm fighting for God. And that brings me to the part nobody's saying out loud. It isn't really about religion at all. It's about power, about making sure nothing and nobody is ever allowed to slow it down. Think about who benefits, and regular people believe the AI safety rules are the work of the devil. Well, the people building AI with no brakes, that's who. If you can get a working person to believe that the folks asking for guardrails are evil, then the working person will fight against their own protection. They'll cheer for the tower to go higher. They'll boo the people trying to make it safe for their own kids. It's the oldest play in the book. Convince the people at the bottom that the people trying to help them are the enemy, then you can do whatever you want. And here's the thing that ties it all together. The thing you should stick with. Now, watch what these people do, not what they say. Because while Thiel is up there telling you the future is a battle between good and evil, and he's on the side of good, here's what the future actually looks like for him. He reportedly has a 477-acre compound in New Zealand, on the other side of the planet, stocked and ready to go. The head of OpenAI, Sam Altman, keeps guns, gold, antibiotics, gas masks, and pills for nuclear fallout. His backup plan, in his own words, is to fly to Thiel's land in New Zealand when things end up falling apart. Another tech founder said out loud that more than half of the billionaires he knows already have bought what they call apocalypse insurance, bunkers, and escape hatches. So let me get this straight. The same man telling you that the future's bright, the same man telling you AI is going to lift everybody up, the same men telling you the people who want safety are the bad guys, those exact men are buying bunkers on the other side of the world. You don't build an escape hatch from a future you believe is actually going to end up being good. And that's the tell. That's the whole show in one sentence. They're not afraid of the people asking for the rules. They're afraid of what happens with no rules. And they've already bought their way out of the room. You and me don't get a bunker in New Zealand. We don't get a 400-acre compound. When the tower falls, we're going to be standing right under it together. So here's what this means for you. The real takeaway, not fear, but something you can actually use. Stop trusting the brochure. When somebody who's getting rich off a thing is telling you it's safe and then quietly builds themselves in a safe hatch from that same thing, you have your answer. You don't need a degree. You don't need to understand the code. Just need to watch where the smart money runs and where it thinks nobody happens to be looking. It's the same instinct that keeps you safe everywhere else in life. When the guy telling you the car won't let you look, selling you the car won't let you look under the hood, then you actually don't buy the car. These men won't let us look under the hood. They lock the doors and throw out the cameras and preach to each other in the dark. This is not the behavior of people who believe their own story. We don't have to panic. Panic is what they want. And actually, Thiel said it himself. The way you grab power is by making everybody afraid of the end of the world and then offering yourself as the protection, as the savior. So we don't do afraid. We do clear-eyed. We watch the behavior. We read the bunkers and the farmland and the locked doors for exactly what they are. And we remember one thing. They're betting that we're going to forget. We outnumber them. We always have. This whole game works if regular people stay confused and stay scared and stay pointed at the wrong enemy. So don't be confused. The enemy was never the people asking for guardrails on your kid's future. The enemy is anybody who tells you to look up at the bright future while they quietly pack a bag for somewhere else. And that's what's going on in AI this week. And it's only one story. I'll see you next week because trust me, there'll be more. I'm just trying to make sure the rest of us understand this stuff in time to do something about it, if that's possible. AI for everyone, not just the one with the bunker. When I was growing up, I remember being on shortwave radio. I'm 57 years old, born in '69. So I was on shortwave radio, and we used to listen to a lot of people that were talking about the one world government, the final end of society. And that was back in the mid-'70s, early '80s. And it was a very popular theme. one world government. They were going to have some government entity go around, disarm the citizens of the United States door to door, and then they were going to form this one world government. Well, I think Star Trek is kind of a one world government, and that future looks pretty good. I mean, at least from the outside. I don't know where this is going to go. And, Peter Thiel, don't know him, never met him. I was a cop for a long time. If this is true, the things that they talk about, the things that I read on the news, the things that I've investigated to put this little show together, it's fascinating to me. I don't know how many people actually run the world. I don't know if there is a secret group of people that people talk about, because you've heard those stories too, the Illuminati and these other things. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, it'd be fascinating to actually have a glimpse into that world. And why, Connor, aren't you concerned or worried? Well, people are very interesting. I know I'm a people too. I'm a human being, but human beings, I try to look at things as a part of fascination. When I was a police officer for all those years, I was completely fascinated at the value of how people deem human lives. Some people think they're worthless. Some people think they're worth no more than a $20 rock of cocaine. I don't even know what those cost now, but back in the day it was $20. So we would often catch ourselves saying, life here has no more value than a $20 rock. Because, they give you one just to try it, and maybe they give you a couple more on credit, and you don't pay them back, and you're done for a $20 rock. Human value, I think, is valuable because we're human. But I think a lot of people building this are maybe trying to find God in the machine. Maybe that's their method. That ultimate control scenario is pretty powerful, very appealing, I would imagine. I'm not a billionaire nor a billionaire. I don't even have health insurance, but I imagine having everything you need without having to worry about money is probably a pretty powerful position. Then you put on top of that somebody that has the right connections to build out things that control a lot of people. I don't know where that goes. I do believe in there's some ultimate power. There is an ultimate God of the universe, and hopefully when time comes, if it's necessary, that God will show himself. But I know it's not going to be found in the machine, at least by me. I hope you're well. Be safe. You can use AI to build up your businesses, try to help you. I do this all day long, but I think it's interesting to watch how this is building. This is not to be compared with the other events of the past. It's different. All those other events, the Industrial Revolution, the printing press, cars, radios, TVs, satellites, internet, now AI, those other things, they were one piece of intelligence. This is all about intelligence, and I think that's where it's different. The people at the top, the people building out the technology, will tell you they hate it when people say AI is a replacement for human labor. Can it replace human labor? It might not be able to replace Connor, at least right now. I mean, Connor himself, the DNA of Connor here. But what Connor does, maybe. And maybe someday everyone else. If that's the true mission, maybe we should rethink it. Unless we're happy with that. Unless it provides for everyone. But I don't know if it ever works out that way. And with AI, it's coming very, very fast. Faster than any of us can imagine. We're about to close out June of 2026 as I film this. I think by the end of this year, there's going to be some major accomplishments in the AI front. They even talked about one of the biggest companies failing or not wanting to really get into that initial public offering, going onto the stock market, become publicly traded because they're very close to recursive self-improvement. That's AI teaching itself. And if that happens, humans, I think, are already not really a big part of the loop of the AI making itself better. If that goes 100% autonomous, AI all by itself making itself better, that could be pretty fast. And right now with artificial intelligence, and maybe we're kind of at artificial general intelligence, we don't have that physical arm of AI. We don't have robots walking around. The best we have, well, at least in my world, we have those carts that are driving around delivering food. A little bit of AI probably. Self-driving cars, a little bit more AI. Robots, I see those on YouTube and these sorts of things. Yeah, a little bit more added on. But what happens when there's a lot of them? What happens when they all have AI? What happens when the physical realm starts to be covered? Interesting. We'll have to see. Be careful out there. make sure you understand that we're being listened to all the time. This isn't to scare you, but privacy really doesn't exist. And so if you're doing anything anywhere within earshot, eye shot of any kind of a video camera on or not, you might be seen. So whatever you need to do, you do to take care of that. I'm not saying you're out there hiding anything, but maybe let your people know as well. And usually, if you say something, it shows up in your feed a couple days later just to prove my point. I hope you're well. Don't bring up Charmin toilet paper. Now all of you are going to be getting the stuff in your feed. I'm Connor with Honor. We'll see you tomorrow. Be well.